Hello, this is Group 5, and today we'll be talking about improving organizational behavior in a gas and electric company located in Northern California. So we're Group 5, and my name is Joshua.
My name is An.
My name is Linh Tran.
My name is Tina Nguyen.
My name is Diego Acosta.
And now we'll be introducing a little bit about the company. So how I'm going to start is just talking about the purpose and goal of this study. So the company we're studying is a gas and electric company in Northern California, and it employs many people in the area because of how big the company is. And what our goal is to understand the organizational behavior within this company and use the concepts that we've learned throughout this class to manage the leadership and communication sections in this presentation. So we noticed that there are going to be some issues within this company, primarily because of the size and just the massive growth of this company that's been going on. And now I'll be talking about the methodology. So our main ways of methodology for this presentation are going to be through interviews. So we completed 2 interviews, one from an employee and a manager at this company. And this was a really important step for us because it gave us a firsthand perspective of people working in the company. And we wanted to include some sort of observations in the study, but we were kind of limited because we completed most of the interviews virtually. So we weren't able to actually see firsthand what was happening through the company and how they operated. But we were able to do other things like research into the company and look at their company website to see their values and how they ran. So this gave us a really good understanding of the company culture and what they're doing to create a good welcoming environment throughout this company. And then we also use other online sources. So the first thing we used is articles. So through these articles, we used them to gain more evidence into our research and just give us more background into the concepts that we're using in this presentation. And then we also use things like Glassdoor and LinkedIn. So Glassdoor and LinkedIn and another site is Indeed. These sites are very important for us because it gave us more of a perspective on what employees thought in the past and how they could see improvements that could be made in the leadership and communication area of the organization. And by doing this, it gave us even more of a perspective from the original 2 interviews that we completed. And now we will be talking about the SWOT analysis, and we'll be starting with the strengths. And I'm going to pass it off to An.
So the process we took to complete this project was first interviewing the employee and the manager. After that, we observed how the company works, which was limited due to the company being mostly online. Third, we analyzed the SWOT, which were the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats that the company had. Using that, we identified the leadership and organizational culture issues. And lastly, we came up with recommendations and steps on how the company can improve those issues. So the first category in our SWOT analysis would be the strengths. After analyzing the interviews with the employee and the manager, we found a few important strengths that the company had. The first one would be a strong focus on communication and collaboration. They had daily team meetings with managers and also company-wide meetings where they discussed events and important topics. The second strength that we identified was that they had an open door policy. This means that everyone is encouraged to share their thoughts to allow for a more cohesive team. And then lastly, they promote within. An example of this would be providing opportunities to move up in rank, such as training, shadowing, and rotational programs. They also provide employees with money for those who seek higher education. The company provided reimbursement for employees' tuition and courses, and this shows that the company values their employees and want them to succeed outside of the workplace. And then lastly, they care about the well-being of their employees, such as work-life balance. In the companies, employees are allowed to work from home and interact through technology, but this still means that they could also come in person to meet online. And this gives them the flexibility to take care of other important matters such as families. And then the second category of our SWOT analysis would be the weakness. And we discovered two main weaknesses within the company, which were micromanagement and personal communication between the members. The first weaknesses would be micromanagement, which means controlling or regulating every aspect of the employee's progress in their task. We found that the employee who was being micromanaged couldn't accurately or promptly complete his duties, and this can cause a lot of conflict between the managers and the employees, such as the lack of trust, feeling of stress and overwhelmed, decrease in productivity, and a toxic work environment. The second weakness within the company would be the personal communication between members. So there are many benefits to working remotely, but there are also drawbacks. In the companies, for example, the lack of in-person communication creates noise. This can lead to the misunderstanding and miscommunication. And in addition, the lack of in-person connection can also make the employee feel isolated and lonely, and that can lead to employees not wanting to speak out even with the company's open door policy. And then I'm gonna pass it to Lynn.
I will present about the opportunity of SWOT analyst. There are many opportunities that this company can take advantage of. Currently, there's a growing demand for green energy and more people are turning away from gas. The company can capitalize on this by expanding its service to include more environmentally friendly options, such as a solar panel. Moreover, the company can research new emerging market and customer needs that are not met by just current service options. This will help expand the customer base and increase the company revenue. The second opportunity focus on the staff growth and help them grow. This not only benefit for the employee, but also for the company. For example, we observed through our interview that the company provides employee opportunity to seek higher education. They offer reimbursement for costs and tuition for those who want to continue their education. To manage work and education, the company provides flexible hours and even encourage each employee to take advantage of these options. My employees stay with the company by creating a positive and healthy work environment. For example, the manager and employee we are interviewed have been working with the company for 22 to 23 years. Next, I will present about the test in the SWOT analysis. We found that there have two main threats that this company facing. One is the increase in gas and electric company in the area, with more company providing similar service but offering better deal. This makes it harder for company to gain new customer. Moreover, in more gas and electric company emerging can also decrease market share and revenue, causing company to find ways to attract more customers, such as the offering service not given by the competitor. Additionally, employee retention can be affected. Although companies provide higher pay and more appealing benefits, employees at this company would want to leave. Another test the company is a natural disaster, such as the flood fire, earthquake. We found that natural disasters are one of the biggest threats to the company providing gas and electric service. If a natural disaster were to happen, it could cause a decrease in the productivity and increase the expenses. Because of natural disaster can destroy the company whole empire, they must send employees to fix them. Due to the dangerous nature of the job, employees can be seriously injured. As a result, the company must be prepared to handle this situation. Next, Tina will present about the recommendation.
To include our recommendation, we have seen micromanagement as one of the biggest issues that was going through this company. The employers feel like they want to make sure they have the best work ethics, so they make sure the employees do their paperwork correctly. But doing so made the employees feel like they're being overwatched and making them feel like they're underperforming the whole time. So to make sure that there's not this huge gap of understanding how employers and employees are thinking, we recommending them to actually mend this by disconnecting how employers oversee them that much. So we do this by establishing boundaries. So each one of these people will establish a boundary with a feedback saying how they like to be worked, like how do you like to be checked? Do you want to know like how they prefer be like being watched or like being not watched or being lazy to perform it? In this way, we can make sure the employees have the best way for their work environment and making sure employees understand how the employee would like to be worked in. But to do this, we have to be understanding how both of these people will actually see it, so the employers and then employees will have better understanding from each other. So in this way, an employee will feel more independent about their work, more safe about it, making sure they don't feel like they're losing a job because of overwhelming feelings about it, and help them develop this trust between their employers and them. So increasing that, it takes time and effort. But every time there's always going to be this amount of not too much trust in the beginning, and it'll take time to build that trust. So even if they're too trustful or not, it takes time for building that team and compensation back. But all of this doesn't work for all employees. Some of these feedbacks don't always work for 100% of the employees. Maybe like there is a small range of it, but it takes time for efforts to feel like the employees feel like they could work in the fields. So I'm gonna pass this to Diego for the next slide for the second recommendation.
Okay. So effective communication is essential for ensuring that conflicts are resolved in a courteous way when they do occur. So in order for this gas and electric company to achieve maximum communication effectiveness, there should be more face-to-face meetings implemented. It is well stated in the interview by the employee and manager that they are working virtually full time. Thus, employees should be given the option to go into the office at least once or twice a week. The advantages of implementing an in-person meeting every week would be that this reduces noise in the communication process. Reducing the amount of noise in the workplace would be beneficial to the company as there would be less room for miscommunication. Another advantage would be that employees would be less lonely and disconnected from their workplace. This would create a welcoming environment and give its employees a sense of pride about the company they are working at. Some disadvantages would be that in-person meetings would be inconvenient for its employees. Maybe some of their employees are not local, which means that the commute for them would be very difficult. Another disadvantage of this solution is that these changes would negatively impact the employee morale. Now, the first step in implementing this solution would be for the company to research into the benefits of in-person meetings compared to online. Because this is a big change, it is important to make sure they understand the benefits before proceeding. The next step would be to conduct surveys to receive feedback on this change. Then picking a communication platform to send this message through would be the next step. Lastly, would be to analyze the effectiveness of this change on the communication within the company. Okay. Overall, having good leadership and communication is key in order to maintain a positive relationship between management and their employees. Even the most successful companies can improve in their leadership and communication. This gas and electric company demonstrates how their management could improve to create a more effective workplace. The issue of micromanaging demonstrates the leadership issues and lack of trust held by upper management. By implementing boundaries, it would improve the leadership and make it easier for their employees to complete their work. Also, by implementing more in-person meetings, there will be less issues with communication. The importance of fighting noise is the best way this gas and electric company can manage the communication within the company. In conclusion, using these strategies will improve the relationships between the company and their employees. This will help employees become more motivated and proud about the company they are working for. Thank you.